Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start by introducing everyone at the table right now. I'm going to start by all the way to the left. Geraldine O'Flynn, the producer, one of the producers of the film. Bertrand Fèvre, another producer. Géraldine Bajard, co-scénariste. Emily Beecham, the actress. Jessica Osner, the director. Félix Brossard, one of the actors. Philippe Baubert, one of the producers. Martin Geschlaert, the director of photography of the film. Bruno Wagner, the producer. Welcome to your press conference. I want to start by asking you a question and quoting one of my colleagues, because I really love the title of the Variety review this morning. He said that it was Body Snatcher for the antidepressant age. I love the title. I'm not going to ask you to talk about the review, but the references. Maybe it's a question for you, Jessica and Geraldine. The references in terms of sci-fi and how you used all of those in this very new and modern way to tell a story.
Shall I start? Well, the film is a sort of genre film, but it is also not at all. And yes, I think the idea was to have a happy end. And not like in some of the horror films, or for example, Body Snatchers, in the end, the whole world is infected and it's very bad, dark and depressing. And I think what I wanted to do was to, it's a sort of, let's live with the zombies, it will be fine.
Geraldine, something to add?
I don't have. It's exactly. We worked on this. That was the important thing, and not to just to have these ambivalence also. And you can work with ambivalence very much if you have some kind of a structure that goes into the genre movie as well.
I'll start with the questions.
No questions.
You have a question? Okay. Right here in the center. We're going to get you a mic.
Hi, Inger Merete Obelstoff from Norwegian newspaper Dagbladet. Congratulations on a really fascinating film. I wanted to ask you about the ideas of motherhood in the film and the ambivalence attached to motherhood, and if you feel that something is a bit off, how you choose to explain it. So I just wonder if you could elaborate a little bit on that. What exactly about motherhood and the relationship between mothers and children was it that you wanted to explore? Thank you.
Well, at least in Austria and Germany, motherhood is still very much of a taboo topic. Mothers are supposed to love their children endlessly, and I think probably they do, but sometimes they don't. And I wanted to tell a story about a mother who loves her child very much, but she also loves her work very much. And finally, she's sort of torn between the two sides, but also because of her own feelings of guilt. It's also part of the happy end, that in the end she lets go of her own guilt. End of the sun.
We have a question right here.
Oh, hi, it's Rodrigo Fonseca from Brazil, from TV Globo. Jessica, a question for you. I would like you to tell a few words about the music of the film. And one more aspect. There is a very interesting use of colors in the film. Could you please tell us a little bit about that? Thank you.
Music and colors?
Music and colors.
Okay. Yes, the music is by a Japanese composer, Teiji Ito. And I know this composer for a while because he also did the music on Maya Deren's films. She was an experimental filmmaker in the 1940s in New York. And I like her films a lot. I think the style that I'm creating together with Martin Geschlaert, we have made all my films together. He does also other films. But yes, we create a style that maybe has a relationship with those films of Maya Deren. It's a very dreamlike world, or fairy tale-like, surrealist world, if you want. And I thought that the music of Teiji Ito gives that very strange feeling to it, that it needed. It's sort of triggers the suspense a little bit, but it's also very strange. It also, I think it gives the audience also that feeling that maybe this isn't a film you cannot be really sure about, and that was the reason to use it.
I want to elaborate on the image of the film, maybe for you too, Martin. You managed to succeed in something that is very difficult. It's to film a smell, to film something that in the air, and we never see it, of course. How did you manage to do that? How did you manage to find a way to get that?
He's just shy. Well, I would say the way we work is that we meet in a very early stage of the development of the script, and we already start to talk about the visuals. And also my sister Tanja Hausner, the costume designer, is very much involved into this first moment of also finding the colors, which are the colors that should be in the film. And for this film, it was also Emily, because since when it was clear that Emily would be the main character in the film, and she has that red hair color, we decided, of course, the coats have to be green and the blouse is pink, so it's a chain reaction. But Martin is very much involved in it, and also in creating the storyboard and the style of the film.
Is it the movement of the camera that you try to develop? Martin, you don't have to answer this one.
Like Jessica said, we work together for 20 years now, and we developed the style, the visual style of the film together from the scratch, and we do it, and the movement is part of that too. Yeah, the colors and everything, of course.
Maybe a question for the actors, Phoenix and Emily. She's asking you something very difficult. You have to be happy, but you have to make us think that something is wrong. How to manage to get this balance?
Well, Jessica was very specific about how she saw the scenes, and she has such unusual ideas. So there was a lot of discourse about it together, and she's got this incredible. She can see all this subtext in the scenes, and it really brings. Even if a scene does not have much action going on in it, there is so much subtext and dynamics and power, up and downs between the character that we got to talk about and explore, and that was really enjoyable. So I came alive in the little moments, and yeah.
But I also remember that, sorry,
Carry on. Yeah.
that I think we also talked about the fact that it's not so obvious how do you act that somebody changed, but actually nobody changed. So it's actually about an idea in your head, and of course it was clear that nobody should act out that he or she is changed. That was the idea behind it. Nothing changed at all, but Emily has to do as if she thought they have changed. So I think that was also part of it. It's a mind game. It's a lot about things that build up in your head and then they become real.
Phoenix, a word about that?
Yeah, but I'm pretty agree with Emily and Jessica. But there was something interesting. We were never sure, but like there was some question all the time in my head, like, am I infected? Am I not? And Jessica was playing with me like, you don't know, you'll see. And it was like kind of really nice because.
I also didn't know.
Yeah.
I think we have a question over there.
Barbara Kostolnik. That's me.
Can you stand up, please?
Yeah, sorry. Barbara Kostolnik, German Public Radio ARD. I've got a question on the Austrian part of this film. If it's an Austrian film, what's the specific Austrian about this film? First question. And second question, it's a German, UK, Austrian co-production. How important was the German part on this? Thank you.
I answer the first question. I think there is nothing specific Austrian in it. No. No, I think I never really made very Austrian films, is my point of view. I always try to make films that have an international audience because, and that's for me important to say, I'm not, like the films I'm doing are not naturalist films. They are not even realism films. They're very styled. And I'm interested in doing fairy tales, actually, and I think they should hold good for which country ever. And it's also not really a film that's set let's say, in the future. It could also be in the past. I think those are elements that are important to me. I prefer to do something that has a more existential point of view. But the German question, maybe. Are you laughing?
The German part of the film is the makeup, the one actor who is playing the father, and basically my company, the post-production. So we have also been working 20 years together, and all of Jessica's films have been co-produced with Berlin, many times with the post-production.
You were talking, Jessica, about the existential element of the film. Of course, it's obvious. What about the political one? We live in a world where everybody is asking us all the time to drink the Kool-Aid. You film is about that. Do you also about that? Do you feel that the subversive aspect of your story will be seen directly by the audience?
I didn't understand what one word you said. We are
asking all the time to drink the Kool-Aid. That means that they give us some stuff that we have to accept and be happy with that. Yeah.
I understand. Yes. I mean, the film asks the question, what is happiness? I mean, what do we expect from a plant that makes you happy? I mean, what should that be? I think it's very much about that idea. It's a longing, it's a desire of everyone to be happy. But then if you're happy, you're happy for a moment and then it goes away again. It's nothing that you can really hold. So I think that's also part of it, that it's an idea. Happiness is an idea, it's not real.
I think we had the question right here. Oh, sorry, Peter over there. I'll come back to you afterward, promise.
Peter Paul Huth, German television, ZDF Dreisat. I wanted to ask, why did you set the story in the world of high-tech biotechnology? As it's very stylized, there's the danger of over-stylizing it because it's already a very sterile world. How to avoid going too far and why this environment? Thank you.
I think you can't go too far in style. I think we could have even gone farther. Martin and me, when we developed the style, at some point, Martin had very daring ideas and I had to stop him. Normally it was the other way around. No, what I'm trying to say is that I think the style of the film is, of course, what makes it special, and the world it shows of science. I think it's a very it's a topic that is very present at the moment, gene technology, and I was very much interested in also doing the research about it to get, I wanted to know more about it, because you read some things in the newspapers and everything is dangerous, and I talked to some scientists because I wanted to know, is it dangerous, is it not dangerous, what is the danger in gene technology? And it was interesting because finally the closer you look, the less you find an answer, or you find 10 answers, but not one answer. So that was interesting for me, and I always try to find topics that have 10 answers and not only one. So I was perfectly happy with that.
Please.
Shireen Sharif from BBC Arabic Radio. I have a couple of questions. First, for you, Jessica. We were joking earlier about using the flowers, which is really, it's a symbol of love, especially the red ones. Yeah. Why in particular you choose this to transform into zombies or something scary? So this is the first question. The second is using science to, and the fear that science that can lead us to more danger and distraction in the world is not new. So what can you say about your film that it is special or providing something special in this idea?
Okay. The first question about the flower. I think when Geraldine and me, we started to build the story, we also thought it could be something that you have to eat. It could be an apple or, I mean, there's a lot of discussions about grain. But we also researched about electromagnetism. I mean, actually what we wanted to find was a Verschwörungstheorie.
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories, yeah. And gene technology is brilliant for conspiracy theories because there are so many different opinions on it. So we chose the flower at some point because the flower is a symbol, as you said it. And I'm not interested in making a film about gene technology. I'm making a film about a very basic desire of humans to be happy, to be loved, and to love someone. So I don't make a film about grain. I make a film about a flower that makes you happy. It's a symbol. And the other question was, yeah. Well, I think sorry, but I think I actually already said it. I think it's the end, the thing that it's a happy end. Like we like the zombies. We are the zombies already. So it cannot be worse. That's actually.
And we don't even notice.
Yes, and we don't even know. Yeah. That's one interesting point we talked about as well. Probably everyone is alert about this and that, and maybe the real dangers are the ones that you don't even notice. You're not aware of it.
I want to elaborate on the science question. Maybe for the producers, we know, of course, a series, TV show like Black Mirrors are very successful, and the science is used in a very smart way in science fiction now. Does that help a movie like this one to find money, to get produced, is there an appetite for this kind of story?
I think what helped is Jessica's track record and distinctiveness, and the way it's totally different. Black Mirror or series like that are very creative in terms of the topics they go. But the same way you said that how could she shoot smell, how could she shoot brains operating, and it's something that you don't necessarily find in Black Mirror, which is much more action based. So the distinctiveness of Jessica was bigger, and the script was the biggest help to finance the film. And about the question about the nationality of the money, our job is to make sure that you don't notice it. We make you forget that where it's coming from.
I think we have a question in the first row, right here.
Erika Abreu from Brazil, Rede TV News. First of all, well done for the movie. It was a surprise ending, not a predictable end. My question is for you, Jessica. If you have to start the movie again, would you change or add something, or would it be exactly like it is now?
That's a difficult one. Maybe we should talk about that, let's say, in 2 months, because I think what is happening when the film is out, I suddenly start to understand what I really made, because I feel and see the reactions of the audience, and that is the important moment. Then I start to understand, this works like that, and this works not like that. So maybe in 2 months we could discuss about what should have been changed. Okay?
We got a question right here, second row.
Deborah Cole from AFP News Agency, Agence France Presse. I'd like to ask the Austrians on the panel to pick up on Didier's question earlier about the political themes and also fake news. You probably haven't had a lot of time to read the news since last night, but right now in Austria, the government could potentially be imploding over these revelations. You look surprised about Strache of the far right. Attempting to collude with a purported Russian agent and get involved in some media manipulation. So if any of you are at all up to date on that, I would be interested in a reaction to what's going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We don't know anything, but if they find a reason to get rid of Strache, tant mieux.
All right, we have another one right here.
Me again. Jessica, watching the movie yesterday, first several moments the Little Shop of Horrors from Roger Corman came to my mind. This is the most famous film about a flower. And I thought that it came to my mind because somehow your movie dialogues with the tradition of the B-movies. You mentioned Maya Dering, that's another ground, but I would like to understand the importance of Corman and the other great directors of B-movies to this narrative.
Yes, the film was important to us. I watched it with the person who made the visual effects, the VFX, and I told him, yeah, look at that film because I want our plant to be as ridiculous as that plant. And he was like, oh, but I mean, normally we try to make it look very realistic. And I said, this time make it look like a puppet. It's a puppet that suddenly comes to life. And that was a very good inspiration, Little Shop of Horrors. But I think they did it analog. They did it in a stop trick. So we decided he should make that digital animation as if it was a not digital animation. So it says a twinkling eye on the plant like that.
Did you watch the musical version or the Roger Corman in black and white?
Both.
Jessica, you talked about our society being zombified and how we are like zombies and stuff like that. What, doing the movie, working on the film, did you...
Happy zombies.
Happy zombies, yeah. Did you think of how we could wake up? In the real world, not
you
in
can never wake up. I mean, but the question is interesting. Everyone lives in his or her own world. You cannot wake up. You wake up when you're dead, maybe.
Okay. All right, we have a question right here.
Hi, good morning. I'm Andrea Guglielmino from Italy, Cinecittà News. My question is about the ending, even though we shouldn't spoil the ending writing. But what catch my attention is that the little kid, the child, chooses to leave his mother and go to live with his father, but this means also leaving little Joe, and you don't emphasize too much on it. So I would like something more about this. It's curious. Maybe it's a sign of if it's feelings, if it's true feelings. I don't know. This catch my attention.
No spoilers, okay?
No spoilers, no spoilers. Just an explication of this, if you want. Thanks.
Well, I would say what you point out now is maybe that other side that works with the story as well. I think we tried to make it work at least from two perspectives. One perspective is, yes, they have been infected and the feelings are not true. The other explanation is, no, they have not been infected, but what is a true feeling?
Exactly.
Okay, first row, the lady here.
Maria Wiesner, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. I noticed that psychotherapy plays a big role in the film, and at some point you are not even sure if the main character is gaslighted by everyone around, or if everything is really happening. I would like to know I would like you to elaborate a little bit on the aspect of psychotherapy and what it means to you.
Very much. Well, maybe that's the Austrian thing in the film, the psychotherapy. Yeah, in Austria, a lot of people go to psychotherapy, so it's very normal actually. And I think it's a good way, of course, for a film to give you that other perspective, like what we said before. There is a scientific side on the film. Yes, there is a virus, and the other side is, of course, the gaslight side, the psychological side, the side that says, yeah, but it's all in your head. And so that was, of course, the reason to have those sessions with the psychotherapist. And I love psychotherapist scenes and dinner scenes.
Right here.
Hi, Brian Johnson from Maclean's Magazine and The Walrus in Canada. I arrived a bit late, so excuse me if somebody else has already asked this question, but I wanted to ask you about the amazing color palette of the film and how precise it is, from the mint green lab coats through the shifts in lighting. And one gets the sense that the entire lab is... I just like to get you to discuss a bit the notion of color as a kind of soma drug. because the whole lab already seems to be somewhat zombified even before
Yes.
any infection takes place.
Yes, yes, that's it. It doesn't make much difference. That's what they say in the story also. Infected or not, you don't notice. Okay, but the colors, yes, the colors create the style of the film also. It's Martin and me, we work on the colors also in the post-production very much. We try to make them even brighter. The button of chroma is the one that is always increased during the color grading. More color, more color. So that's what I say, but you agreed, right? So yeah, it is very much about bright colors. Also in our previous films, I don't know if you saw Lovely Rita, it was in 2001. And we also, back then, we worked with a video camera, and we also created a setting and the colors with the costumes, the setting and the color grading that was looking very bright, very artificial. I'm not so much interested in making films that pretend to be so real. I like films that are surreal. Could you understand the difference? I don't know if you pronounced it well. Because I find it very clear that a film is just an opinion, and the audience is supposed to have an opinion of their own.
To elaborate on that, is there also a changing? I mean, I think I perceived that watching the film, that the shot composition itself changed through the film. It's more deliberately, I don't know, straight, or the position of actor is different through the evolution of the infection. Am I correct, or did I see that? Did I think of it?
I think you imagined that.
Yeah, that means your film is working. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That's all the time we have for our press conference. Thank you very much.